World History with Kid Vader. Hey everyone, welcome back. And today on Kid Vader TV, I'm going to be talking about the entire world history. So I'm going to be showing you guys all the way from the beginning of Earth all the way to the present days now. Earth started about 4,550 million years ago. There was no living cells for lots of time, a lot of years, and the Earth is basically divided into periods. It's divided into the first one is the Permian period that had the first soft-bodied creatures. Next was the Cambrian period that had the first creatures with skeletons. That was 10 million years ago. And then the Pleistocene period, which had the first fish and the first land plants, which was 440 million years ago. After that, 408 million years ago was the Silurian period, which had the first creatures on land, and the Donovan period 362 million years ago had the first amphibians. First period, which had the first flying insects and the first forests, which was 290 million years ago. And period had the first swimming reptiles, and was 245 million years ago. And the Triassic period had the first dinosaurs, and which was 200 million years ago. The Jurassic period had the first mammals and the first birds, which was 144 million years ago. The Cretaceous period had the first flowering plants, which was 66 million years ago, which was also the end of the dinosaurs. The period which had the first elephants, the first grasses, the first cats, the first horses, and the first humans, which is 1.8 million years ago. Present day is the Quantitary Period. When it first started, it looked completely different from how it looked now. It had a lot of volcanoes, meteors crashing on, and it rained so much that it actually flooded, that made oceans from today. And that's how we have water here on Earth. And some scientists also believe that 15,000 million years ago there was a big explosion called the Big Bang, which started the whole universe and made tiny living cells that now appeared on Earth a long time ago. The beginning of life wasn't as it was today. The beginning of life had lots of plants, no animals in the beginning. So some plants were considered animals in the first time. Here's a picture of some animals that lived a long time ago, about 3,800 million years ago. The first fish appeared about 510 million years ago. Life on land started about 440 million years ago as well, which had centipedes and a bunch of little more insects. And believe it or not, there was also fish a long time ago with legs, so they could walk on land. That was about 380 million years ago, and now they just undeveloped all the legs, so that's how we have fish now. So as we all know, a lot of dinosaurs lived from millions and millions of years ago, and about a few million years back, dinosaurs became extinct, and there's never been dinosaurs after again, but there are some relatives of dinosaurs that still live today, like alligators, lizards. You know that birds first evolved from dinosaurs? First, it was a normal dinosaur that grew into a feathered dinosaur, which had wings, and then to a current modern bird. Okay, so you guys might be wanting the whole history in this video, but there's way too much history to cover just in one video, unless it's like an hour and 30-minute video just from all the history. So I'm gonna be making it shorter and the most important part. So if you think about how did humans become created, it was actually from monkeys. So yes, we are mammals, and we are like monkeys, sort of. So pretty much the human history started about 66 million years ago with monkeys. A lot of them used to crawl on all fours, but then they started walking on two legs. And about 5 million years ago, there was a new species of monkeys. They were pretty human-like and very hairy. They did not have any clothes at all, of course, but they looked quite like humans, but they were very hairy. And these apes were called hominids, and one of the earliest hominids were called Australopithecus, which is pretty hard to say. I think I'm pronouncing it right, but that was the earliest hominid, which is like a up-walking ape. And scientists have found skeletons of or skulls of hominids still found of humans. And after a few more million years, a new species of hominid evolved after, and those new hominids were called Homo habilis, which were more skilled and they had bigger brains to think more and to hunt down better animals, and that's when they started coming up with fire to keep them warm in their caves. After a while, they started spreading out from each other, and some started living in caves. So cavemen are really real. Have you imagined them? They're sort of like that, but yeah, you could kind of say they're cavemen because they went and lived in different places. Some spread out to Alaska and more the wilderness and hunted deer, polar bears, and in the Ice Age, they hunted mammoths. They forced them off a cliff or to either get them with a spear, fall off a cliff, which was pretty hard for the mammoths. The first early family started about 200,000 to 30,000 years ago, which they first started all going together and acting more as a family. But no one really knows when humans started to talk time as well. Okay, now the first modern people appeared about 150,000 to 40,000 years ago. They talked, surprisingly, they talked as well as we do today. They wore clothes, actually wore a little more clothes, and they were keeping themselves more protected. They were very good hunters now. They evolved a lot from the hominids in the beginning. They made clothes, tents, and all that you could think of from old times. In world, what do you think of? Say it out loud. Do you think of like mommy's statues, like those golden statues that you might think of? Do you think of pyramids? Like pyramids and mummies and like temples and stuff. So let's talk a little bit about this history. Alright, so the ancient world people were very more skilled than the first humans, of course. They started building houses and walls. They started making the first villages. So the houses were made from bricks, but not the bricks today. They made them a little bit different, and the roofs were made from straw. They also kept a lot of animals, so they had a lot of meat, milk, and wool. One of the first sort of towns was, Sumer, S-U-M-E-R. From the Middle East, which as you can see a picture here, it was pretty good for being a long time ago. This was 5000 through 2000 BC. So this is basically the time. So everything before BC is like 5000 BC, 2000 BC, and the lowest it gets is, so let's just say 100 BC is older than 50 BC, and it goes down, and AD is in the middle, and then after AD is everything now. So one was so right now is sort of like that. So this is after BC. So this is the time after that. This is currently 2020. So this is 2,000 years after that. And they also had 2-story houses, and during this time they had like sort of simple toilets, but it was pretty nasty because they didn't have a drain at first. So whenever they went to the bathroom, they would have to scoop it out and throw it somewhere, which I think was pretty nasty. I'm really glad they invented drains by now. Also, the invention of writing was made around this time. They used a clay tablet, which was pretty much like a rock with a kind of like a stick kind of thing. They carved stuff out of here. And around here, they started crafting and trading things. So other villages would go to other villages and trade stuff to each other, like gold, spices, and stuff like that. So these older times were a lot about conquering cities sort of thing. So the Sumers, again S-U-M-E-R, was conquered and then conquered and conquered, which is how it really went along that time. But good thing it's not really about that anymore, about conquering stuff, because their city would get wiped out and would slowly fade out, and a new city would come on, and it was like that for a long time. And one of the cool things about history is some people have still found statues and stuff that have been there for like thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. Like there's been stone buildings that people have found and are currently here just still today. Don't think life was just very friendly in the ancient world. It pretty much started all of that like fighting and wars and stuff. So they often went at war to conquer villages and stuff. um, and it usually didn't end off good. They would conquer, and then the other would be left out, and then their village will grow weak, and that was the end of their town. And around there also, boys from very rich families would go to school to learn reading and writing, and girls would be taught by the mom at their house, since right at that time they weren't able to go to school. And some things you could kind of say that were fun and games, but they might have been fun and games for people that were watching, but not so fun for the people that were playing it. A lot of games like that were like very dangerous games that could lead to very serious injuries. Like some of them were like fighting with giants and swords, and it didn't end off that well. Like drama plays like that they played to entertain people. Kids, the more entertaining stuff was like little wooden toys that they had. It wasn't very much. We just had like wooden toys. It wasn't too much. So it was just a start. So Rome was one of those popular and biggest cities and around the ancient world. They had conquered a lot of land until 455 AD, which was around this time from 2020, so about 1,500 years ago this happened. It was the fall around the barbarians took over, which are kind of type of warriors at that time, and they took them out, and this led into the medieval time, which is about the knights, castles, kings. Okay guys, so in Europe, it was really like themed kind of like the medieval world. There were knights, castles, kings, everything like that. So basically, I'm gonna tell you guys the rank. The highest rank you can go is king, and then there's noble, which is kind of like the sidekick. And then there was knights, and then citizens, which are pretty much everyone else who lived there. And the lowest possible was slaves. At the time they had knights, which were like, as you could imagine, a knight in your head. They had like the helmet on with like the opening helmet thing in the middle, and like standing there with like their flag or something in the front. And they had a lot of parties and stuff in their big huge castle, and there was also always someone on the lookout. That's why they were so successful for so long. But it was almost like Europe was the only one that was like that, because everywhere else it was mainly the same. Like if you guys remember the Roman times, like in this picture right here, it was mainly like the houses, like great kind of houses with the hay on the top, still kind of North America and Japan. Europe, that wasn't really like that, but a lot of places had that medieval style in it still. Like in Australia, a lot of people lived on the islands, and there was nothing pretty much like the medieval world. They had kind of like those like robes kind of things in the early humans, and they fought back with other people trying to conquer their islands. Also, around that time, there was a lot better artists. They made very good paintings, as you can see when they're here, right there. Their paintings were really skilled right there, since this was like maybe 1,000 or about to 1,500 years ago, but they're actually pretty good for being a long time ago. Okay, skipping a little bit from the medieval world to 1420 to 1500. So there was a man named Christopher Columbus, and it was about that whole thing, like right there, like is the earth flat or is the earth round? So he tried to figure that out, and he sailed for a long time, and he found land after about 5 weeks. And when he found it, he believed that the earth was round, so he planted a flag there, and he pretty much said that the earth was round. Guys, what do you guys think? Do you think the earth is flat, or do you guys think the earth is round? I actually think we could make another video about that, another history video. If you guys like this history video, make sure to like and subscribe if you guys want to see a video like that, another history video. Alright, so moving on to the last 500 years. So this is like more stuff you might know about from like history in school. So this is like the last 500 years from like 1500 to like 2000 or 2020 as it is right now. But I'm just going to show you guys from 2000 for now. Okay, so there was still some temple kind of stuff until 1680 for some temples. From 15,000 to 1680, there was some temples still and some still survive, like the Taj Mahal is still here today. Shah Jahan built the Taj Mahal as a tomb for his wife, Musma Mahal. And around that time also, 1550 to 1600, it was about like England, about the kings, and Elizabeth the First was the queen of that time. Also, the artists were really good around there. Here's another artist picture from here from around that time in the 1700s. And they were actually really good as well. Okay, so since it's not really anything like too big, now we're gonna be talking a little bit about the slaves. So there was still a lot of slaves around that time. There was slaves that did all the work for people that captured them, but until and which Abraham Lincoln in the 1800s stopped slavery, and that's why you don't really see any slaves today, which is a good thing because no one really wants to be captured. And around the early 1900s as well, skipping a little bit, there was a lot of separation for a lot of people. They would usually have to split different bathrooms and different buses and stuff until Martin Luther King Jr. Stopped in. He said everyone should be together, no matter how they look, and that's how it still is today. Hey everyone, I hope you liked this video, and if you guys on my history video, make sure to, so if you guys want to learn every more little detail about history, since I didn't get to everything, but I got to a lot of the important stuff, so go to your library or ask your parents if you could order one on Amazon or anything like Barnes & Noble or anything where you could get books and to get a history book. So I hope you like this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and you can see me. Make sure to put on the notification bell so you don't miss another video. So I'll see you next time. Bye.